Now, for Formula E fans, Christmas comes early this year as season 11 of the all-electric single-seater championship began in early December in Sao Paulo, Brazil. In addition to the early start, the new Gen 3 Evo cars with AWD and grippier tyres were the source of plenty of excitement heading into the first race of the season. And boy, was it a race that didn't disappoint. The drama started in qualifying as Mitch Evans was unable to set a fly lap as the emergency brake of his Jaguar was activated. This put the season 10 runner-up on the back foot from the get-go and was forced to start from 22nd on the grid. With likely championship rivals Wehrlein and Rowland starting on the front row, this was shaping up to be a race of damage limitation for Evans. Before we could even get going, issues struck another Jaguar-powered car as Frines was unable to take the start due to a mechanical issue. This led to a delayed start with 21 cars taking lights out. Rowland took the lead with a strong start as Wehrlein settled in behind. Most cars got through the opening lap unscathed, although there was light contact going through the turn 5-6 chicane for some cars, with Dennis complaining about a damaged right front tyre. The following lap would feature a hefty shunt featuring Jake Hughes and Nico Müller at turn 6, as Müller lost the rear of the car exiting the chicane and careered into the side of the British driver who was minding his own business. Certainly not an ideal start to life at Andretti for the Swiss driver who's been a star of Formula E the last 2 years at Abt. The incident was big enough to warrant a safety car and was definitely a boon for Evans, who had made his way up to 12th after only 2 laps of racing. Now, after the safety car came in, we were treated to our first look at the revamped attack mode, which allowed drivers to use the front powertrain in addition to the rear. Safe to say, it had quite the impact as Nick Cassidy rocketed up the order and took the lead after languishing toward the bottom of the points paying positions. Meanwhile, the luckless Lucas de Grassi was forced to retire from his home race at turn 8 after collision damage. While mechanical gremlins had already struck 2 Jaguar-powered cars, it certainly didn't compare to the ignominy of having all 4 of your cars handed drive-through penalties as Nissan did. This was caused by a simple software mistake, causing the cars to use more power than was allowed. Needless to say, it was probably one of the most embarrassing incidents that a powertrain manufacturer has suffered since Mahindra was forced to withdraw all their cars at the 2024 Cape Town Prix, especially since their star driver Oliver Rowland was in a prime position to win the race. While 3 of their drivers were given their penalties relatively early in the race, Rowland was given his quite late, which had a much more detrimental effect on his race, but more on that later. Now, after Cassidy took the lead using attack mode, many of the other drivers followed suit. This led to a flurry of position changes at the head of the field. Norman Nato, having just been notified that he had a drive-through penalty, took the lead of the race, overtaking Cassidy, who had run out of attack mode. On lap 18, Wehrlein overtook Cassidy for P2 and eventually passed Rowland for the lead. This was followed by his teammate Da Costa taking the lead on lap 20. It stopped in the runoff area at turn 1, when it was judged that it would take too much time to clear Dennis's car, which was in an unsafe condition. Race control decided to call a red flag, which brought the race to a momentary standstill. The stoppage had the unintended effect of benefiting the Nissan powered cars, which had already served their drive-through penalties, as Nato, Barnard and Bird all had 4 to 5% energy advantage on the rest of the field when the race resumed. When we got going again, it was a standing restart, which Oliver Rowland duly took advantage of, retaking the lead at the first corner. The following lap, the Jaguar duo of Evans and Cassidy took their second attack modes, with a pair of them charging up the order as a result, with Cassidy making a nice overtake on Gunter at turn 10 for P2. Evans eventually took the lead on lap 27, completing a remarkable turnaround after starting the race in last. With the race winding down, the jockeying for the lead positions got even more intense as Da Costa took P2 on lap 30. The McLarens also benefited, taking advantage of their extra energy to move up to P3 and P4. As the cars navigated the turn 5-6 chicane, contact between Gunter and Cassidy left Gunter in the wall and Cassidy offline exiting the corner. Cassidy made wheel-to-wheel contact with Wehrlein ahead, flipping the Porsche car in dramatic fashion and probably giving the German PTSD from Monaco in the process.
Let's have a look. You see Jenson Button does go down the inside and then Pascal does get launched.
The red flag was quickly brought out again as Wehrlein was able to safely get out of his car. When we got going for what would be thankfully a third and final time, Evans was able to hold on to the lead and controlled the rest of the race for a sensational last to first victory. Joining the Kiwi on the podium were Da Costa, who has had a much better start to the season than the previous 2, and rookie Taylor Barnard competing in only his 4th race and becoming the youngest podium finisher in Formula E history. Taking a look at the rest of the point scorers from the opening race of season 11, Bird finished 4th, Mortara 5th, De Vries 6th, Wemy 7th, Ticktum 8th, Verne 9th, and Van Dorn rounded out the points, finishing in 10th. Now, to finish up this video, we're going to include our predictions for season 11 for Formula E. Even though he didn't pick up points in Sao Paulo, we think that with his excellent form last year and the increase in pace from his car, Oliver Rowland looks like he has a great shot at winning the season 11 driver's crown. For the rest of the top 5 in the championship, we think Evans, Cassidy, Verline and Da Costa are smart bets to be contenders for the season 11 drivers championship.